Hello, hello. Happy New Year, everyone. I hope everyone's 2026 is off to a fantastic start. I know mine is. I'm super grateful. And let me know where you are joining me from. If you're new here and you don't know who I am, I'm Mia James, your financial wellness coach. And you have come to my book club, which we are discussing my book, which is called Think, Learn, and Feel Rich. Because in order for you to become wealthy, you have to be wealthy on the inside first. And so we are going through each chapter, and I can't believe today is our halfway point. We are going to be halfway through the book. So let me know who's joining me. Let me know in the chat. I know some people have some trouble joining the chat live, and this book club is nothing without the chat. So, and if you are watching on your YouTube app, okay, these glasses are throwing me off. Let me take them off for now. If you're on the YouTube app, right below the video, you should see something that says comments or live chat, and you should be able to join the chat there. Hey, Errol. Hey, Natasha. So great to see y'all this evening. Please do me a big favor. Please like, subscribe, and share. Because tonight we're going to be talking about liabilities. And I know there is a lot of people out there that need some help with getting out of debt, especially wealth destroying debt. We're not talking about debt that helps us make money. We're talking about debt that takes away from our wealth. So please like, share, and subscribe. And if there's anyone who you think should be here tonight, tell them to come on in or send them the replay. I would greatly appreciate that. So let's jump in with my buddies here. Also, let me know where you're joining from. I know we are East Coast in the house. And so we are on page 46 in my book. If you have a copy of it, if not, that's completely fine. I'm going to go through the concepts anyway. And I start out on page 26 talking about it's expensive to borrow money because it is. Thank you, Natasha, for sharing. Right now, I don't know. Let me know in the chat, what are some of the interest rates you all have seen on debt? Anybody have any ideas? Yes, Errol is in paradise. Okay, Errol, I'm super jealous. I try to escape when I can. I was just in Florida last month. I love Florida. So in the book, I talk about, I do a lot of financial needs analysis for my clients. And what I've seen is that the highest interest rate I've seen is 35%. And so for those of you who may be watching the replay and you're not familiar with how interest rates work, this is absolutely insane. 35%. So that means for every dollar that you borrow, you have to pay 35 cents in interest. Like, that is absolutely crazy to me. I remember when interest rates were like 15, 18, something like that. Definitely below 20. But now we're talking about over 30. And it was so high that the system that I used to do the financial needs analysis, it did not even take the 35%. It was like, do not compute. Okay. I was like, this is absolutely insane. So exactly, Natasha, it is insane. I'm like, I don't even understand. So let's keep going here. If you do have any debt, what I encourage you to do, because I noticed that a lot of people I talk to, they don't even know what the interest rate is on their debt. And they come to me and they're saying, Mia, I'm paying every month, but I'm not seeing any results. It's because most of your payment is going towards paying the interest versus paying down a principal. And the principal is the amount that you initially borrowed. Anybody else out there seeing any kind of crazy interest rates besides me? Because I was just like, that is wild to me. So for those of you who don't know what liabilities are, I know the people in the chat do because I know y'all personally, but I have a lot of people that watch the replay, right? Yes, thank you, Natasha. Natasha said it's another money-making scheme. Yes, because by paying interest, and I'm guilty because I'm going to tell y'all my story in a little bit. I am definitely guilty of that debt cycle trap, which is why I know how to get out of debt. We're by paying interest, we're making them richer. But what my husband and I do is we pay off the balance every month, but we rack up all these travel points. So last year I barely paid for any of my plane tickets and I took 17 trips. Okay. So there's ways that you can use it to your advantage, but you have to be savvy with it. So a liability essentially is anything that you owe money on. So that could be mortgage. This is all listed out on page 46, and I'm going to give you some additional ones. You got a mortgage, credit cards, student loans, car loans, personal loan, business loans. Yes, exactly, Errol. 22 to 25%. And that's good because now I'm starting to see 30 plus, right? So that's a pretty reasonable one these days. Anything that you owe that is considered a liability. If you owe your mama some money, your cousins, whoever you owe money to, that is a liability, right? You might owe money to yourself. Sometimes I know what I used to do. If I needed to take money out of my savings account, I would do an IOU to myself and be like, I need to pay this money back. Oh, thank you, Natasha. Yes, there is so many ways to get free travel. Marty, you made it. Everybody, welcome Marty Bell. That's my friend. I'm so happy you're here, Marty. All right, so let's go to page 46. The topic on page, 47 is your money is not working for you. Let me say it again. Your money is not working for you. The main thing is that when you are borrowing money, your money is not working for you. And you know, my homie Errol, who is like my mentor with options trading. So Errol, let me give a shout out to Errol. If y'all not in Errol's class, you need to be, because by me working with Errol, my rate of return on my trading went up 643% from November to December. So shout out to Errol and his amazing teaching. Okay. So in Errol's classes and in my class, we're always talking about making your money go out and work for you. Make your money make money, right? You want our money to go out and make friends. Yes, Errol is the being. Yeah, shout out to Errol. So if you owe somebody 35% in interest, compare that to if you were able to take that money, instead of paying it on your credit cards, you were able to take that money and invest it, and you were getting a rate of return of 35%. Now, that's not the average rate of return that you get. Now, actually, Errol had calculated somebody's rate of return today that was more than 35%. I'm like, now that is some dope investing, right? Oh, there's Moo in the background. We can see you, Moo. That's funny. Sorry, y'all. I changed locations today, so you might see hubby in the background. But let's see. We're on page 47. It says second area here. It's not quite a paragraph. It says, now a lot of investments may not necessarily yield 35% or something that high. It just means that the money that you're paying out is not working for you, meaning that it's not going out and making other friends or other dollars. And basically, all we really want our money to do is go out and make friends and make dollars. We want it to, the math got a math. See, Errol be in my head. He understands what I'm talking about. The math got a math. You got to make it make sense. So would you rather be paying somebody 35% to use their money, or would you rather be making somewhere between 10 and 35% rate of return on investing that money and deploying it to make more friends? What would you rather do? You know? And listen, like I said, I am totally guilty of that whole debt trap. Not death, debt trap. Okay? Because I had to learn. So here on page 47, I started talking about some of the investment ideas that I've gotten from various authors, because I read a lot of books, because I'm also a Black Velma like Natasha. Exactly. Natasha says she want to make that money. So there's this book that I read called The Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. And he says that if you're going to take on debt, let somebody else pay for it. Here's an example from my real life. I have a mortgage on my house, right? I don't pay the mortgage. You know why? Because I have a tenant. They pay the mortgage, but their rent is more than the expenses on the home. So therefore, even though I have the debt of that mortgage, I'm not paying for it. Somebody else is. I love it, Natasha. This is why y'all got to be in the chat so y'all can see what other people are saying. You have to be here live. It's so much more fun. The other thing is Rachel Rogers. Rachel Rogers, and actually Dr. Boyce talked about this morning for those of you in the Dr. Boyce community. Rachel Rogers reframes debt as an investment. So Rachel Rogers went to law school. She took on 6 figures of debt, and she was basically able to build a career. She has a business that yields her a 7-figure income. So her investing 100 grand was worth it because now she's making over 7 figures. But everybody don't make they education do what it do, right? So if you're going to invest in yourself, which is fantastic, Warren Buffett says your number one investment is in yourself, but you still need to make sure that whatever you're investing in is going to yield a return on the back end. And you're not going to be out here struggling on the plantation, okay? Because I got off the plantation 4 years ago, and let me tell you, best decision ever, okay? Hello, glory be to God, right, Errol? So let's go to page 48. Here's some questions to consider if you are thinking about going into debt. Number one, what's the reason? What is your why? Why are you going into this debt? Number two, what is it going to do for you in the long run? So another way to reframe that question is, will your future self thank you for using this debt, right? Or going into this debt? And again, if you're just joining us, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. I definitely appreciate that. And so many people do need some debt help. So definitely help to spread the word. So this next section, pages 48 through 50, 48 through 49 actually, talk about ways to get out of debt. So I'm going to leave that for you all as life work. But high level, what you want to do is you want to go to page 27 and make sure that you downloaded the fillable PDF workbook. That's number one, because there's a debt reduction plan in there and it has algorithms and formulas that will actually show you when your debt will be paid off. So that's the first part that you need to do. Once you have the PDF or the document rather in Excel, you're going to add in all of your debt and outstanding balances, right? So you want to know all your outstanding balances, and you need to know what's the balance, what's the interest rate, what's the minimum payment, and what is the payment that you make. Okay, so that's the main thing. So when you're doing your life work, you can rewatch this or you can just read it in the book. If you have the book, page 48 through 49, it's going to explain the process. Now, there's two different ways that you can pay off debt traditionally. Okay, anybody familiar with these methods? One is called the snowball method and one is called the avalanche method. The snowball method, you all have heard of this before. It's nothing fancy, nothing special. It just means that you pay your debt in order from lowest balance to highest balance. That's all that means. Okay. So it's nothing deep. It's not that deep. Some people get, like, ooh. So really, after you have your balances listed, you have to decide which of these two methods you want to use. Now, the key with the snowball method is that if you list your balances in order from smallest to largest, then you put extra money only on that first balance so you can pay it off faster. Then you take, so for example, if that first payment was 100 and you put an extra 200 on it, say the minimum is 100, you put an extra 200, so that means you pay 300 a month until that one is gone. Then you take that 300 and put it on the next one. That's it. Okay. The second method is called the high interest rate method or the avalanche method. So instead of listing your balances from smallest to largest, you list them from highest interest rate to lowest interest rate. Okay. So you pay off the highest interest rate debt first. All this is in the book, or you can watch the replay. But let me tell you, I'm not here to judge anybody because guess what? I've been there. Okay. So what happened is, so this is back in 08, I'm young, cute, living my best life in New York City. So this is my second time living in New York City. Most people know me from living in Houston, but I'm actually from California, all the way around the world. Thank you, Velma. Velma has given you a book to read if you would like to learn more about the snowball method by a financial expert, Warren Buffett. So thank you, Velma. I was living in New York City, not making a lot of money. I had a steady income, good job and stuff. Good job. And long story short, I racked up $25,000 in debt because I'm over here living my absolute best life. Plus, I had NYU debt. For those of you who don't know, NYU is a private institution, which means that it was a lot of money. Okay. So I went to grad school at NYU, racked up student loans. Thank God I don't have any student loans anymore. Praise the Lord. And long story short, I had all this debt, right, with this small income here. And I was overwhelmed and frustrated. This is all in the book, but long story short, I go to my church. They have this debt reduction class, right? I forget, it's called Be Set Free, something like that. I don't even remember. But I remember I had to get up in front of the whole class and I had to be like how much debt I owe. Now, mind you, there was people in the class, they had like $1 million in debt, and I couldn't even wrap my mind around that. I'm like, $1 million. I'm like, dang, how they ever gonna get out of that? But anyway, I'm 20, whatever. So I'm like, I stand up and I'm like, I have $89,000 in debt. And they're like, ooh. And I was like, why are people making this noise? I was like, people here will wait for the $89,000 in debt. That's like a drop in the bucket compared to some of these other debts. So anyway, I was like, I can't have people judging me because I have $89,000 in debt. I said, I got to get out this credit card debt. This is not going to work. And my teacher was an old school Caribbean lady. She literally made us handwrite, y'all, handwrite out our interest, like multiply. I'm not even, because I'm gonna have some trauma behind that. Handwrite for every single month that we were in debt, how much interest we were paying by every single decimal. It was like pages and pages of calculations. This is what we have to do and sit in class. She was like, okay, so is this the life that you want? I was like, it was like writing standards in school. Remember those? So anywho, needless to say, exactly, Natasha. Like I don't know if I felt shame. I'm trying to think of how I felt. I just felt like I'm just gonna be the top performer in this class. And like I was like, it's not that deep. I'm gonna get out of this debt. It's not that hard. I was like, because my mindset, and this is how I grew up, my mindset was always, you just make more money will come. So I know how to make money. So I never really felt any type of way, but I was just like, how dare people shame me when other people have more debt? I was like, oh, anyway. So what I did was I was like, okay, student loans, whatever. I'm not really tripping on those. I was like, but let me get out this $25,000 in credit card debt. So basically what I did, I put myself on a strict spending plan, and I only gave myself a $20 a month like fun budget. Okay. And so back then, this was like in 2008. Okay. So what I did was I took $5 a week and I went to Starbucks with a different friend. So you might be saying, oh my gosh, what a boring life. Actually, I missed nothing. If my friends wanted me to come with them, I told them my goal. I'm like, I'm getting out of debt. I am not spending money on entertainment. This is my $20 a month. I stuck with it. And if they wanted me to come, they paid for me. So I was like, no, I'm not doing it. So another thing that whenever you tell yourself, one of my friends sent me a message and I'm laughing at her. So exactly, Natasha, I focus and discipline. I still have fun money. And if you are in debt, I recommend two things. You still need to give yourself some fun money because you are not on the plantation or running a business or a combination or neither just to pay bills. That is not that ain't living, right? Errol will tell you, we are here to live. We're here to tan and be on the beach and stay melanated. You know what I'm saying? That's what we are here to do. We're not here just to pay bills. Okay. So give yourself a fun budget, right? Because you earned it. And number two, you still need to be saving, because what happens, y'all, when we don't save and we're trying to get out of debt? Whatever can happen will happen, right? So if you don't have any money in savings and an emergency comes up, what do? Right? What do? You swipe again. So what does that do? Set our debt plan backwards. So we don't want to do that. So you still have to save while you're paying off your debt. There's no, I'm just going to go hard on my debt. No, that is not financially responsible. Exactly. Yes, Natasha, we're going to fly on our private jets to our yachts. That's exactly what we're going to do. So you need to, so that's for people who have like $1 million in debt. And that's just like, that's just your real estate properties and stuff. That's what your debt is really about. And it's people like that, wealthy people don't look at debt the way not so wealthy people look at it. I'll just put it like that. Okay. That's a conversation for another day. So, if you're like really like trying to figure out how to get out of debt, you either got to cut back on expenses. And I don't like cutting back on expenses. That's really not my thing, right? I did that in my 20s. I'm not about that life in my 40s. Or and you got to save, right? Or you got to increase your cash flow. If you need to learn how to increase your cash flow, talk to Errol. Exactly, Natasha. Wealthy people use debt as leverage. It's called OPM, other people's money. They use other people's money to make them money. Make that money. Don't let it make you. Sorry, Ron. Y'all know I like to have a good time with when we talk. So lastly, we're gonna wrap up here on page 52. We right on time. Again, you want to make sure that you think about what your motivation is to get out of debt. And don't forget to give yourself a little fun money. That's the most important thing. And if you need some assistance with getting out of debt, there is a QR code on that page. I believe it's page 52. Hopefully our pages are the same because I have a different, the original copy of the book. Yeah, page 52. There's a QR code. If let's just say doing the minimum for you is not doable, I do have a program that I can help you with to get your payments reduced. You could just scan that QR code and I can put you in touch with them. So any questions about liabilities? Excellent. Thank you, Natasha. So page 52, or if you are watching a replay, you can just go to my website and schedule there. It's at a link at the upper right-hand corner, I believe. But yes, any questions, any thoughts? Maybe some of you have had some great experiences with getting out of debt. Staying out of debt is really the thing, because I know I'm a cycler, like in it, out of it, right? And I know that was an identity thing. So that's a whole nother conversation for another day. But when we have repetitive cycles, especially when it comes to money, it usually revolves around some type of identity issue. Like, do you feel like, it could be like an instant gratification situation, or like for me, my because my mindset is, I'll always make more money. That doesn't mean that I should just use the debt anyway. Yes, I'll make more money, but am I gonna make it in time to make that payment is the question, to stay in integrity with my financial goals. So I hope this was helpful. If there's anyone, like I said, please share with anyone who you think needs this information, because I know a lot of people want to get out of debt in the new year. And the book, again, outlines some strategies and also has a debt reduction plan embedded in the workbook. So that way they can just, it comes with the book and they can just fill in their numbers and get to going on a plan. Well, alrighty, y'all. Oh, look, we finished up early today. I'm proud of us. I'm gonna go hang out with my king then, unless anyone has any questions. Okay, I don't see any questions in the chat. Well, you all have a lovely night. Next week, we are going to be on chapter 6, which is about, what is chapter 6? Okay. Income protection. No one talks about income protection. I do not see this talked about on social media. And it never comes up into my feed. Does it come up into y'all's feed? I never see it. So we're going to talk about income protection, because God forbid something happens to you and you cannot trade time for money. How are you going to make income? So that's what we'll be talking about next week. Well, you all stay awesome. And I look forward to seeing many of you next week. Thanks for joining. Good night.